Making headlines, Chief Justice reminds judges of their immense responsibility, urges to be fair and just in every ruling. The Maldives issues an urgent call for the restoration of essential health services and the operationalization of health facilities in Palestine. And the Minister Dr. Aishat Shiham reveals that the government has visited and gathered information of over 12,000 families under Halukihine program.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Good evening and welcome to PSM News in English. I'm your host Ahmad Imad and I'll be continuing with the details for this evening's stories. Chief Justice Ahmad Mu'tasim Adnan reminds judges across the country of their immense responsibility and urges judges to be fair and just in every ruling. Speaking during the oath-taking ceremony of new magistrates, the Chief Justice said judges have been entrusted with the foremost responsibility to ensure peace and stability in the country. According to the Chief Justice, the primary responsibility of judges is to protect the interests of the state, which he said can only be achieved by working fairly as stipulated in the Constitution. He also reminded the new magistrates of the immense responsibility and urged them to abide by their oath. He added that protecting the interests of the state is a great duty and responsibility for judges. The Chief Justice said the magistrates have to work closely with the people more than the other courts and urged them to be kind and thoughtful when serving the people. During the ceremony, magistrates were sworn into 7 different magistrate courts. They were presented with their letter of appointment by the President of the Judicial Service Commission JSC, Hussein Riza Adam. Magistrates were appointed to Bara Magistrate Court, Kendu Magistrate Court, Tinadu Magistrate Court, Mafushi Magistrate Court, Kashidu Magistrate Court, Mawa Magistrate Court and Gaddu Magistrate Court. The Maldives issues an urgent call for the restoration of essential health services and the operationalization of health facilities in Palestine. The call was made during the 156th session of the World Health Organization WHO Executive Board. The meeting, convened at WHO headquarters in Geneva, Switzerland from February 3rd to 11th, was attended by a Maldivian delegation led by Minister of Health Abdullah Nazim Ibrahim.
The delegation underscored the grave health conditions in the occupied Palestinian territories, casting a spotlight on the critical need for immediate intervention. The Maldives voted in favor of proposals advanced by Palestine, rejecting these put forward by Israel, highlighting the urgency of the situation. Comprising 34 technically qualified members elected for 3-year terms, the WHO Executive Board is tasked with implementing the decisions and policies of the World Health Embassy and advising on its operations. The meeting featured extensive deliberations on the restoration of essential health services and the operationalization of health facilities in Gaza. The discussions also included the delivery of medical supplies and the provision of fuel to hospitals, amidst severe constraints on access. The urgency of establishing systematic and sustained access to the population across Gaza was another key focus. These discussions underscored the critical need for comprehensive efforts to enhance healthcare infrastructure and services in Gaza. At the meeting, the Maldives also advocated for enhancing response mechanisms and improving the ability of all states to manage global health emergencies, in addition to increasing universal health coverage to aid states in attaining sustainable development goals. The Maldives also stressed the importance of mitigating health concerns induced by climate change and protecting the health of children and women. During their visit to Geneva, the Maldives delegation also met with the WHO Director General Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus. According to Health Ministry sources, the discussion centered on seeking additional support and assistance from the WHO for the Maldives.
The Parliamentary General Purpose Committee endorses an amendment to the Parliament Rules of Procedure seeking to revise the sessions of the Parliament. The amendment to Rules of Procedure was proposed by parliamentarian for South Marfanno constituency, Abdullah Rifau. The proposed amendment to the Rules of Procedure seeks to revise the duration of the 3 sessions each year. According to the proposed amendment, the first session of the Parliament will run from January 1st to the end of that month, and the second session will run from April 1st to the end of July. The third term of the year will run from September 1st until the end of November. The amendment has also accounted for the first session of this year, as the Parliament has been in session since February 6th. So the current session will continue until the end of February for this year, according to the amendment. The amendment to significantly shorten the first session of Parliament comes ahead of the holy month of Ramadan, which is set to begin on March 1st. This means the Parliament will be in recess for the entire month of Ramadan starting this year until the year 2029. According to the current rules of procedure, the first session of the year will run from February 1st until the end of May. The second term will run from June 1st to August 15th, and the third term will run from October 1st until the end of November. The amendment was passed by the majority of lawmakers during the committee sit-down on February 13th. The Minister of Social and Family Development, Dr. Aishat Shiham, reveals that the government has visited and gathered information of over 12,000 families under its Halukihine program thus far.
The initiative, launched in May last year, involves visiting residents across all islands in the Maldives to assess their well-being, identify individuals in need, and provide necessary services. Speaking during a press conference, the minister said the program has been well received by the public. She said that the program has provided a great opportunity for the people to share their concerns and challenges directly with the officials of the ministry. She also said that information from dozens of islands have been gathered so far. According to the minister, the government has gathered data from more than 12,000 households, which includes over 40 islands. Data collection is underway from another 30 islands. According to her, efforts are also underway to establish a database to maintain the information gathered through this program. She also revealed that over 200 officials have been trained under the Ijtimai Badahi Madadwering IBAMA program. IBAMA focuses on bolstering social security through a meticulous monitoring system and collaboration with relevant administrative bodies. Providing an update on the Family for Every Child program, the minister said 67 children under state care have been placed with families. The government aims to ensure that no child is excluded from society and that they have the opportunity to grow up experiencing family care. Under the Family for Every Child program, children who are facing challenges in returning to their birth family will be transferred to a temporary family environment.
The government revises its tobacco control regulations, now granting law enforcement agencies the authority to confiscate electronic cigarettes and vaping devices which are banned under national law.
As of 15th November 2024, the importation of all vaping devices and products was prohibited following an amendment to the Tobacco Control Act. By 15th December 2024, the sale, use or distribution of these devices had been outlawed. Law enforcement agencies have since been actively enforcing these new restrictions nationwide. The earlier regulations did not grant law enforcement the power to confiscate vaping devices. The latest revisions rectify this issue, enabling authorities to seize all such devices. Additionally, the revised regulations impose a fine of $3,243.51 on individuals who refuse to surrender their vaping devices. If a vaping device is discovered during a search related to an unrelated court warrant, according to the regulation, no additional court warrant is required for its confiscation. Individuals found with vaping devices face a fine of $129.73. Business entities obstructing the confiscation will incur a fine of $6,484.33 and potential revocation of their business licenses as per the regulation. Fines must be paid in full to the Maldives Inland Revenue Authority (MIRA) within 14 days. Non-compliance empowers the Ministry of Health to revoke the entity's tobacco trade license and pursue legal remedies for payment. Entities disputing authorities' actions may file a complaint with the Health Ministry, which is obliged to investigate, review, and respond within 15 days. The Maldives Police Service, the ministry responsible for implementing the administration's economic policies, city councils, and island councils, are authorized to enforce these regulations and impose fines.
The Ministry of Finance and Planning confirms the removal of Hamdi Agil from his position as President of the Board of the Privatization Corporatization Board, PCB. The ministry did not disclose any further details regarding the dismissal. Appointed to the PCB on November 22, 2023, Agil's removal coincides with the administration's efforts to enhance the governance and management of government-owned companies. The administration has been implementing comprehensive cost-cutting measures and management reforms aimed at strengthening the operational structures of government-owned entities. The government says these measures reflect a commitment to improving efficiency and accountability within these organizations. The PCB is a 7-member body established under the law of privatization, corporatization, monitoring, and evaluation of government businesses. It oversees and implements the privatization and corporatization of government-owned businesses in the Maldives, ensuring efficient processes, approving procedures, and maintaining good governance. Bank of Maldives BML announces positive changes to its financing products to support the growth and success of businesses across the country.
The country's national bank has enhanced its business financing products in real estate, guest house, and working capital. Real estate financing, minimum equity reduced from 30% to 20%. Payment period extended from 15 to 20 years. Long-term leases, contractors, real estate developers, companies, government institutions, and other registered legal entities can now apply for financing to construct projects under long-term lease agreements. Guest house financing. Guest house proposed for the financing can now be listed as sole security. Guest houses operating for over 2 years can access financing at 11%. New guest houses can access financing at 12%. Working capital financing. Businesses can access financing up to 2.5 times more than the average monthly sales. Eligibility criteria relaxed to accommodate more businesses. BML's CEO and Managing Director Muhammad Sharif said the announcement represents a significant step forward in BML's commitment to the Maldivian business community. According to him, by making financing more accessible and offering improved terms across multiple sectors, BML providing businesses with the financial support they need to expand, innovate, and thrive in today's dynamic market. BML had recently announced significant enhancements to its housing financing products to offer greater flexibility and accessibility for customers across the Maldives.
CEO Sundar Pichai says that Google has signed a memorandum of understanding with Poland about speeding up the adoption of artificial intelligence.
Pichai told a news conference that both parties are excited to announce a new memorandum of understanding to use AI to drive economic growth and help transform sectors, including cybersecurity, health, and energy.
We are excited to announce a new memorandum of understanding to use AI to drive economic growth and help transform sectors, including cybersecurity, health, and energy. Generative AI could increase Poland's GDP by 8% over the next 10 years. We want to help people access the opportunities technology creates, so we are expanding our training programs to train 1 million Poles in AI skills.
Earlier this week, Pichai attended a 2-day AI summit in Paris where he pushed the EU to soften its own rulebook, saying Europe's productivity is dependent on using the emerging technology. European lawmakers last year approved the bloc's AI Act, the world's first comprehensive set of rules governing the technology.
Provincial Governor Jean-Jacques Purusi Sadiki says the advance of Rwanda-backed M23 rebels into East Congo's South Kivu province could trigger a humanitarian catastrophe in an under-resourced area already housing thousands of displaced people.
The Tutsi-led rebels have been inching south since they seized East Congo's largest city of Goma at the end of last month, gaining more ground despite military pushbacks and mediation efforts. This dramatic escalation of a decade-old insurgency in East Congo has stoked fears of a broader regional war and displaced thousands more people in an area already scrambling to support hordes of uprooted civilians, many of which have fled more than once. Days of violence that preceded the capture of Goma left around 3,000 people dead, overwhelmed hospitals with casualties and severely hindered humanitarian operations in the city, as non-essential aid workers had to be evacuated and warehouses were looted. Sadiki said in an interview that there had been recent clashes in the region.
Our forces, the National Defense Forces, FRDC, has been reinforced, equipment have been provided, and new troops have been released on the front line. And as a matter of fact, we have now very strong positions. We have been attacked in the Kalehe territory since last night. We have been fighting several locations with the enemy, Rwandese forces with the backup. M23 has been fighting us for quite a long time, and we know that they have a lot of support from other countries, several countries.
Rwanda has been accused by Congo, the United Nations, and several Western countries of supporting the rebels with thousands of its own troops and weapons. It denies this and says it is acting in self-defense. A ceasefire declared by the rebels of humanitarian reasons at the start of February rapidly crumbled. Congo's government said on Wednesday that its troops had been attacked several times in different areas since an unprecedented joint summit of Eastern and Southern African blocs took place to defuse the crisis last week. The government said in a statement that one of the attacks was the bombing of Congo armed forces in Lubero territory in northern Kivu, which killed 14 people, including civilians.
Yes, we are fearing a humanitarian catastrophe should the war attend this place. It will be really a big tragedy in the sense that North Kivu has a lower population compared to South Kivu. South Kivu we are turning around 2,800,000 citizens, whether Goma is less than 1 million. So 2,800,000 citizens is huge. And the attitude of this population is South Kivu population resistance.
The top UN aid official in Congo, Bruno Lemarquis, said several partners had already had to pause their projects in the world's most aid-dependent country. He said that the fall of Goma airport, which remains closed, makes it difficult to evacuate severely injured patients and bring in supplies.
Myanmar ethnic armed group, the Democratic Karen Buddhist Army or DKBA, hands over 260 people from different nationalities suspected to have been entrapped in illegal online operations.
Thailand last week cut electricity, internet and fuel supplies to 5 border areas in Myanmar as the Southeast Asian nation stepped up efforts to choke scam centers that have been a growing security concern. According to the 2023 UN report, scam compounds in Southeast Asia, including along the Thai-Myanmar border, are suspected to have entrapped hundreds of thousands of people in illegal online operations, generating billions annually. The 260 victims have been sent to the Popra district office for health screenings before going through a process to be sent back to their home countries, according to the local media reports.
Rai Kasamura of Japan and China's Liu Mengting claimed their second gold medals of the Asian Winter Games in Harbin.
Kasamura followed on his gold in the slopestyle category by topping the podium in the men's freeski big air event. His score of 183.50 enough to give him victory over South Korean's Yoon Jong-hoon, who took silver, and bronze medalist Shin Young-sop. The women's title went to Liu, who followed on from her gold in slopestyle to beat her compatriots Han Lin Shan and Yang Rui, who took silver and bronze respectively, as China swept the podium positions. Tuesday's freestyle skiing saw golds for China's Feng Jiangxi and Wang Shui in the women's aerial synchro, with Roman Ivanov and Sherzod Kashibayev of Kazakhstan taking the men's title. In the biathlon, Ekaterina Avakumova of South Korea takes the women's 7.5 sprint title, while Vladislav Kiryev of Kazakhstan took the men's 10-kilometer sprint gold. China once again dominated the speed skating. Ning Xiangyang took the men's 1,000 meters gold and Han Mei the women's title, while Chinese teams also took both team pursuit golds.
Elon Musk says his AI chatbot and ChatGPT challenger Grok 3 is in the final stages of development and will be released in about a week or two.
Musk said in a video call addressing the World Government Summit in Dubai that Grok 3 has very powerful reasoning capabilities. So in the tests that were done thus far, Grok 3 is outperforming anything that's been released.
I mean, Grok 3 has very, very powerful reasoning capabilities. In the tests that we've done thus far, Grok 3 is outperforming anything that's been released that we're aware of. So we're really in the final stages of polishing Grok 3. Probably it gets released in about a week or two, so pretty soon. It's a week, maybe 2 weeks. I think it'll be very good. And I think this might be, we think it'll be better than anything else. And then maybe this might be the last time that any AI is better than Grok.
UAE AI Minister Omar Al-Olama, who was interviewing Musk at the conference, said they would partner on Dubai Loop, an underground high-speed transport system that Musk likened to a wormhole. Al-Olama did not give details.
Today we're going to announce the joint project of Dubai Loop, which is a loop project that is going to cover Dubai's most densely populated areas for people to go from point to point in a seamless manner. So thank you for your partnership. And
well, thank you.
We hope it changes people's lives.
Turning to international affairs, Musk told the Middle East audience that the United States has been pushy in the past and it should mind its own business.
And that wraps up the news for this evening. Thank you for tuning in to BSF News. We hope you have a pleasant evening.
ގޮތުގެފާނުގެ ޤައުމުގެ މީހުންގެ މައްޗަށް ކޯފައިގެ އަމަރުފުޅާއި ހިނދު މަލާއިކަތުން ވަޑައިގެން ސަތުން ސަރަޙައްދުގައި ގުޅިފައިވާ ރައްތަށް ބިމުގެ އަޑިން އެއްކޮށް ނެނގެވި އެއީ ހެއްރަކަމުގައި ބުނެވެ
ಮಗುಮಚ್ಚೆ ಸವಾಲ್ಕೊಂಡು ನುದುನು ಎಮ್ಎಫ್ ತಿಜಹುನಿ ಮುಳಿಮೂನುಗ ಬೆಂಡೇಜೋಳಾಕನ್ ಎಕ್ಸಿಡೆಂಟ್ ತಹುಗ ನುವದಿಹ ಇನ್ಸೆತ್ತ ಮೀಹು ಮರವನಿ ಬೋಲೆಲ್ಲಿ ಬ್ಯಾನಿ ಆಕ್ಸ ಸಾಕಲ್ ದುಬಾರು ಹೆಲ್ಮೆಟ್ ಒಳ